Hello, this is Brennan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stockholm Invitational Series race, season number 5, race number 4, and we are at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for a very special LSCI race, as this is the 100th Cup Series race run ever since the series was founded back in 2022. And this is a major milestone for the series. Of course, I didn't think we'd get to 100 races, but here we are, and we're at one of my favorite racetracks. A track I wish still existed in real life, but it's a good thing we have NR that so we can still run races on it virtually. I am joined alongside Caleb Rose for this race, and Caleb, of course, this is going to be a big race. We had a pretty large entry list for this race. It's going to be a 50-lap race here at Auto Club, and with all the stuff around this race, with it being the 100th race and being at a track that used to host the season finale, what do you think the drivers are feeling before this race goes?
It's definitely going to be a big race for a lot of these guys here tonight, like you mentioned, with it being the 100th series race. It's hard to believe we've gotten to this point, but it's definitely been quite a fun ride. We've had a lot of great moments here in these first 99 races here of the Lumen Stockholm Invitational. Definitely would expect to make some more memories here tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. Like you mentioned, definitely a very fun racetrack. Glad that we can carry the legacy of this racetrack on here in NR2003. It's always produced some really, really fun racing, and I'm sure we'll definitely see some more of that here tonight. This time under the lights. Gonna gain some additional aura farming here from running under the lights, like you mentioned, was ran by the amateur series, but now switching over to the cup side of things, and definitely going to be interesting to see how this race does end up playing out. And like you mentioned, with it being the 100th race, I'm sure that's adding a handful of stakes with this race for these guys here tonight. So the anticipation probably rising, and everybody probably wants to get this race victory with it being the 100th race and all. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up panning out. But regardless of the fact, it should be a very fun one here out of the lights here from Fontana.
Yeah, absolutely. We even got some drivers from the inaugural season that aren't really full-time racing anymore, that are in this race, and we'll go over those once we reach them in the starting grid. But I want to talk about strategy in terms of this race because strategy is a big thing here at Auto Club. Of course, the surface is very bumpy, so you're going to see a lot of tire wear. You're probably going to have to make 2 pit stops in this race if what we saw from the amateur series was anything to go off of, with them pitting around lap 19, 18 or so. How do you want to cut the runs if this thing goes green like the amateur race did? In terms of the distance, do you want to save the short run towards the end, or maybe do you want to try and come in a little earlier?
I definitely would expect a lot of strategy here tonight. It's going to be interesting to see what everybody does decide to do. Me personally, I would probably come in a bit earlier, gain some time on the short run, and kind of run the last stint of the race a bit long. Because if you do decide to wait a little bit, that'll be less time that you have to make up there in the short run, and you'll lose time on the long run before you do end up making your pit stop. So, personally, that is what I'd probably lean towards. However, I'd say you could probably make both work, and it'll be interesting to see what everybody does decide to do. And of course, you still got the things that could throw a wrench into things like yellow flags. Have to see if we do see any of those here tonight. We do know they like to get crazy here around this racetrack, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we had 2 cautions last year and probably a couple instances that should have been cautions afterwards. So yellow flags are definitely not out of the equation. Last week we saw a yellow flag throw a wrench into things at Homestead where a big pileup happened in turn 3 that took out a lot of strong cars and ended up kind of changing the complexion of the race. Something similar could definitely happen here. But here is your starting lineup for the 100th LSCI race. On the pole is Corbin Taps, winner of the first 2 races in a row. Had a bit of a lackluster run at Homestead, but he is back up top once again, trying to go 3 of 4 to start the year here, and is trying to chase down Jacob Lopez for the all-time wins record. I believe right now Taps has 5, but Lopez is still in first with 7. So it'll be interesting to see if he can gain some ground on that 50 car. Alongside him, fittingly, is the Dodgers car here in the LA metro area, it's Cooper Spur in the number 24 GoPro Honda. Row number 2, a couple of Toyotas. Holly Martin in the 27, who had a good qualifying run last week that she was unable to take advantage of. Trying to turn that around here today. Kate Summers in the 32, who's been off to the best start of a season she's ever had. This 32 car is looking like one of the top contenders this season, which is very unusual for a Pacific car in the series. They've usually trended towards the middle of the field, but at least Kate Summers has definitely brought a lot of speed so far to start off this season. And then you've got Alnita Kim, winner of last year's race in just her 4th start in LSCI. We've got a lot of returning veterans that ran back in the early seasons, but we still have our fair share of rookies up here, including Alnita Kim, who has been the most impressive of them so far. And alongside her is the 8 car of Darren Walker. In sharp contrast to the 79, he's ran almost every LSCI race, save for a couple D&Qs here and there. And that's the case with a lot of the drivers that have been around since season 1. They've attempted every race since then. Sometimes you'll have a couple of D&Qs mixed in there, but they've at least attempted all 100 races. Walker and Holly Martin, like we mentioned earlier, as well as Kate Summers and Cooper Spur, are some of those as well. Then we've got JT Boyd in the 77 alongside the 66 car of Tyler Landry. And then it's Karina Willis Calloway, another one of the OG drivers, alongside George Bryan, who is another one of the OG drivers. Then you've got Jake Sidney in the number 19 alongside Laurie Jackson in the 6. You've got the 45 car of James Harvin and the 80 car of Joe Smith, father of Billy Smith, 4-time LSCI Cup Series winner, retired at the end of 2024. He won his second to last race at Homestead, but he is back for a one-off, made the race in this number 80. This is a 4th Patriot Racing Incorporated car. Great to see him back in the field for one more race. And we'll see if he can make some noise. He has won at this track before. He won it back in season 1, and he did it with a 3-wide last lap pass in turn number 3. Maybe he's got a little bit of magic left in this one-off event. Paula Sasikwa in the 4th Pacific Racing car, number 12, is starting in row number 8 alongside the 57 car of Shauna Everett. Then we've got Adrian Wheeler in the number 40 and Martin Swain in the 20, one of the other OG drivers who hasn't really run a full season in a while. But we've seen him now and again, especially in the Lumen 500, and he showed up to this race and he made the field. And then we've got a couple of Walker Brothers racing cars, the 85 of Charlie McCarran and the 98 of Kevin DuPont. This team is off to a sluggish start, so they're looking for a good run here tonight. Then you've got the 62 of Vinny Scholes and the 81 of Jack Gino. Then it's the 88 car of Billy Smith starting behind his father by a few rows. And the 55 car of Michael Harvin, who was another past winner at this track. He won here back in season 2. Then you've got the 10 car of Simon Lawrenson and the number 70 of Damon Kirby, the 39 car of Laken Herndon, and the 52, this time driven by Latanya Gray, another one of the original season 1 drivers. Great to have her back here in the Cup Series, and definitely could throw a wrench into things, if you know what I mean. And then we've got Adrian Fearson and JB Chanot in row number 15. Jacob Lopez, like I mentioned, the all-time wins leader at 7. He's starting deep in the field alongside Akia Tajima. Then you've got the 58 of Joanna Clark alongside last year's champion Tim Berry. Got a top 10 finish last week after having a pretty disappointing run for the most part in that race. Managed to get a solid finish out of it, trying to kind of climb himself out of the early hole that this one car has been put into. And then rounding out the field is the 18 of Zach Dearman and the 2 car of Kobe Hollenbeck. There were 5 D&Qs in this race. This was the last race using the 2025 owner points to determine D&Qs, and that really bit Nathan Buchanan and Ashley Blake, as both of them had very low or no owner points from last year. They both missed the field alongside Tamron Bellinger for the 3rd week in a row, Andrew Kreider in the 78, and Wesley Shelton driving the number 9.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off the backstretch here at Auto Club. And no mechanical failures on the start here. Caleb, you know what I'm going to ask you. Who do you think is going to win the 100th race in LSCI?
Now, there's definitely a lot of strong contenders in this race. A lot of drivers that have really made a name for themselves that I would say would be great to win the 100th. But honestly, you were talking about that 80 car of Joe Smith. He's won here before. We saw him win his second to last race, so he might have some gusto still left in him and a good starting position as well. Have to see if he can claw his way to the front. But he's my pick to win tonight. Wouldn't that be something if Joe Smith could win here in his one-off in the 100th LSCI race?
That's a bold pick there by Caleb, starting back in 14th. Has not been on a car in a year and a half, but if anyone can do it, it'd be Joe Smith. Corbin Taps and Cooper Spur will lead them to the green. We are underway for the 100th time in the Lumen Stock Car Invitational. Look at that out of turn 2. They're already 4 wide. And this is a very wide racetrack. It files back down to 3, but you can see 4 and maybe sometimes 5 wide because there's just that much room here. And that's part of the reason why I love this track. 3 wide here for third. And it looks like Corbin Taps will lead lap number 1 here with a hungry horde of drivers behind. And speaking of hungry, here comes the Wendy's Mobile going for second on Cooper Spur. She started in 6th place. And your 2 race winners from this year are already 1-2. We were thinking about 5 wide through turns 1 and 2, but it files down to 4 and now 3.
They're already going crazy here off the start of this race. Everybody's bunched up and the rubber's not been laid down just yet. Their track very, very slippy here early on. They still got 3 and 4 wide here throughout the field. 4 wide back there off of turn number 4 between Hollenbeck, Latanya Gray, the 70 of Damon Kirby, and the 81 of Jack Gino. They're holding strong here for now, though, and still keeping it straight here as we head on to lap number 3, but a lot of shuffling here going on early in the going. Yeah, like you're talking about up front, it's probably been the 2 best drivers so far this season.
Ooh.
And to the lead goes the number 79 of Alnita Kim past Corbin Taps, who falls down to third. I'll tell you what, Alnita has had nothing short of a spectacular rookie campaign so far, and looking to add on to that with another win here tonight from Auto Club.
And nobody had ever won back-to-back Cup races until Corbin Taps did it at the start of the year. Wouldn't it be something if Alnita Kim echoes his accomplishment right after as a rookie? But Corbin Taps up here in the 24, not Corbin Taps, Cooper Spur rather. We've not seen him up front too much. We've seen him up front a couple of fleeting times in the last couple of seasons ever since he switched to Honda. But Cooper Spur is going to want to win this race. This is a home track for him. He's got the Dodgers colors on his car. He's got the LA fans cheering him on, and here he comes trying to take the lead in that number 24 car. Corbin Taps, who I seem to think is driving the 24 this week, is battling for third with Kate Summers, who's been another one of the better drivers to start off the year. Hasn't won yet, but she has had a couple of top 5 finishes, including a second at Atlanta. She's going to clear the 16, and she's going to go alongside the 79 for P2 now.
Side by side here for second. Summers still right there on the quarter panel. Stayed on the inside here through 3 and 4. Almost 4 wide again back there as Taps gets shuffled out right up against the wall. And he's losing spots fast.
Boyd on his quarter panel.
Oh, yeah. Losing spots fast there on that outside lane. There's absolutely no grip up there, and he's paying the price for it. Back up front, 3 wide now behind the 24s. Here comes the 27 of Holly Martin. They're going to try and make their way up into second. Darren Walker, Tyler Landry right there waiting in the wings as well. There's been a lot of great battles so far here from Fontana. We're not even 10 laps in. They stay 3 wide for the 4th position, still side by side for second. And I'm sure Cooper Spur's loving seeing all this going on in his mirror.
Charlie McCarron has been diving in. Oh my goodness. George Bryan and Jake Sidney had a bit of a moment. I was going to point out how McCarron and Sidney had been really taking the bottom lane, almost down to the apron in turns 3 and 4. A very aggressive line that has been getting them positions. But up at the front, it is a train for the top 5 spots. But I think Kate Summers wants to get under that 24 car as soon as possible. She had a shot at him a couple laps ago. wasn't able to complete the move. And Cooper Spur almost won this race in season 1, the one where Joe Smith made the last lap pass. Spur led the most laps in that race. They are really all over each other's bumpers in turns 3 and 4. That got me a little nervous there, but here comes Summers to the inside, trying to take the lead away from the 24. She'll lead the lap. We'll see if she can keep the lead through 1 and 2.
They were right up against each other there heading into turns 3 and 4. I was definitely a bit nervous as well, but keep it straight for now. And now to the lead goes the 32 of Kate Summers. Alnita Kim following in behind. Darren Walker in the 8 car up into the 3rd position with Spur down to 4th. Landry holding on to a top 5 spot right now. How about this number 41 though? Karina Wills Calloway up here trying to make their way here inside the top 5 potentially, as to the inside of 3 wide goes that number 41. Noticing a lot of blue cars here up towards the front early on. Don't know if that's just a coincidence, but
Karina's an overachiever for sure, and it's impressive to see her continue to put this car inside the top 10 as we're threatening 4 wide here. Kevin DuPont has been slicing and dicing his way through the field along with his teammate Charlie McCarron, and I said at the start of the show that Walker Brothers Racing has had a pretty mediocre start to the season, to say the least, but all 3 of them are up here inside this top 12 or so. Paula Sasikwa is up here in the 12 car. Speaking of the number 12, she's having a pretty good run here, started in 15th, and she's about in that same spot. She's gained a few spots since the start of the race, so good stuff out of the part-time Pacific Racing driver. But up at the front, Darren Walker's threatening 2nd, but he's not going to make the move. And Alnita Kim has been all over the back bumper of Kate Summers for this race lead, just waiting for the opportunity to get past her.
Still keep within close proximity here as they head down the back straightaway. We know both these cars have looked fast so far in this race. Alnita Kim looking at the high side. Summers trying to cut down low. Tyler Landry, meanwhile, for 4th, trying to get by the 24 of Cooper Spur. And honestly, at this point, probably because of all the battling going on, the top 6 have honestly kind of checked out from the rest of the field. There's a pretty solid gap built up between 27 of Holly Martin and the 98 of Kevin DuPont. Have to see if these guys can maybe close into the lead battle, especially if they start going at it. But still a lot of great racing going on back and through here. Good run for the 19 of Jake Sidney up here inside the top 10. Good run so far for the 80 of Joe Smith. Had a good starting position. Kind of fell back early on that outside lane, but he's clawed his way back up here inside of the top 20. And now he's going inside of 3 wide. He's definitely still got some gusto left in him, and he's showing it so far here from Fontana.
And right next to him now is his son, Billy Smith, as they're going to race each other into turn number 1. And this might be the last time you see this, so take it in. Joe and Billy, father and son, racing each other out on the racetrack. But back up in the front, as you mentioned, the top 6 kind of pulling away, not really fighting each other that much. Landry comes up to 4th. And I want to take this moment to point out McPickey Motorsports has had a very strange season to start. Of course, Corbin Taps currently leads the points due to the fact that he won the first 2 races in a row. But other than that, McPickey Motorsports has really had a rough start to the year with all their other 3 cars, including Landry. So it's very unusual to see them struggle so much, but it's kind of being masked by what Corbin Taps has been doing. So drivers like Landry and Tim Berry, who started in the back and appears to still be struggling here in the 31st position, really need to start stepping up here in these next couple of races. But Landry's been doing that here as he runs in 4th.
Yeah, definitely a good turnaround week so far going for Tyler Landry. Right now in the 4th position. He's definitely got a fast car here tonight from Auto Club and looking to make the most of it. Corbin Taps, of course, started on the pole position, but he's kind of faded back a little bit as this run has gone along, and right now kind of right outside the top 10 there in the 13th position. So we'll see if that car comes to him as this run goes along, but the best run tonight so far for Corbin Taps, but still a solid position is that number 16. How about Joe and Billy working together here? Both trying to get by the 57 of Shauna Everett. I kind of wonder what the record is right now for the most family duos we've seen out here on the racetrack, but this race definitely might be a contender for that.
Yeah, for sure. And that was almost reminiscent of the season 3 duels at Daytona when Joe pushed Billy into the field and then Billy ended up winning the race. But those two have definitely had a lot of moments out there together on the track. And of
Well,
course, all you got to do is point the camera away from the leaders, and the lead changes. Alnita Kim has found herself
in our
back
offline
in the
tradition.
lead. Darren Walker and Tyler Landry trying to get past the 32, but the 8 had to check up a lot there in turn 4. He might lose third to the 66 as Landry goes around the outside on the front straightaway, and he will take the final step of the podium for himself. And Holly Martin also going to try and get past the 8. Cooper Spur starting to fall off from this group. I think if I'm Cooper Spur, I might consider pitting right when that window opens around lap 18 to just get on the new tires faster before he loses touch with the pack here.
We'll see what everybody does decide to do. I definitely don't think that would be a bad call there for the 24 of Cooper Spur to stay with this main pack, because, yeah, like you mentioned, definitely looks like it's fallen off of it quite a little bit, and to see how it all ends up shaking out after that first cycle of pit stops, like you mentioned, coming up here pretty shortly, the pit window should open back up, so we'll have to see what everybody does decide to do. However, the worn tires are still not stopping these guys going at it for the race lead, as Kate Summers trying to take it back from the 79 of Alnita Kim, while Landry, Walker, and Holly Martin kind of watched there from the back straightaway, but Summers did not get the momentum she wanted on the inside lane, falls back behind the 79. Here comes Landry trying to go around the outside, but it is not going to work out for him at all.
Yeah, there was not really that much grip out there, and Landry just found that out the hard way as Walker's going to retake the 3rd spot. Looks like Landry should be able to hold off Holly Martin for 4th. This is a great run for Holly Martin. She's shown flashes of speeds in this 27 car, but she's struggling to get the results, especially last week at Homestead was really the antithesis of it. She had a great qualifying run. She led some laps, ended up finishing outside the top 20 anyway. So this 27's been struggling for speed late in the race. But being up here in 5th is definitely helping her. And here we go. This might be the first lap where we start seeing cars coming in pit, but it looks like the top 6 are going to stay out. Will anybody try the strategy and undercut? It doesn't appear like it will. So everyone stays out this time by, but we could see them pitting here within the next few laps. Summers took a peek under the 79 again, but still not enough momentum. You can see the tire fall off there is about 2 seconds at this point. This track is like a cheese grater for tires because of how old the surface is. So, you know, that's a big factor later in the run. And once we get drivers on different tire strategies, it'll be interesting to see if those drivers with the fresher tires will be able to make up the track position and get past the drivers on the older tires.
Have to see how that all ends up playing out, but it's always usually really fun once you do. Like you said, once we get a bunch of different drivers on a whole bunch of strategies, it makes for some really, really fun racing. And we'll have to see what that ends up boiling down to here tonight. But on to lap number 20 now. The top 5 still relatively the same. I still don't believe anyone, at least inside the top 10, has pitted quite yet. But we'll have to see who the first couple takers are, because I do believe once we start seeing some guys come down the pit lane, I'm sure the floodgates will probably end up opening up with all the tire wear that we are seeing.
Yeah, first person that comes in is going to open Pandora's box there. The 12 car almost got into the wall trying to get past Charlie McCarron. That's for P10.
Gone.
That's an impressive run for that 12 car for sure. And then you've got Joe and Billy Smith back here. Adrian Pearson in the 92 this week. One of the original Season 1 drivers. Good to see her on the track for the 100th race and running pretty solid in that Pacific Racing Toyota. The Pacific Racing cars seem to have picked up a bit of speed compared to last year. And not much speed on the inside there for the 92 as the 41's going to get past her and she's still going to be 3 wide here going in through 3 and 4, but she might be coming into pit this time. No, it doesn't look like it. They're really stretching it here further than I thought they would. Never mind.
Oh, there we go.
I just saw the 32 come into pit and it looks like she was the
Here
first one taking those tires on lap number 22. Honestly, that's a bit later
I
than I
like this strategy.
expected them to come in. Will we see somebody try and cut it to a one-stopper?
It's definitely a lot later than I might have expected too, and with it being this far, I don't know if anyone will try it, but we'll see.
Here
More
come the
cars coming
leaders,
in this time.
except
Holly Martin gonna try and
the
stay out.
27.
I have to see how long they can stretch it for.
Yeah, most of the leaders coming in here on lap number 22, but we still got plenty of them on the track on lap 23, including a few in the back that are trying to make up some positions. But most of the field coming in that time by Kate Summers leaving the pits. I believe she was the only one to pit early like that. We're still watching some of these cars. Akia Tajima, Laurie Jackson, Laken Herndon, Tim Berry, who have been struggling in this race. James Harvin, Vinny Scholes. They've been struggling, and they're trying to get some spots by doing something different. And it looks like everyone is going to come in here on lap 23. So I don't think we'll be seeing anybody try to stretch it into a one-stopper. Got to be careful entering the pits here. LaTanya Gray, Damon Kirby. But they're going to be okay. And another trouble spot is exiting the pits here. Sometimes you'll see a bit of a bottleneck going into turn 1 on the apron. And that could cause someone to get spun up into the racetrack. But looks like no issues with that, at least among the first group. And the first one out from there was the 79 of Alnita Kim, who is behind the 32 of Kate Summers. The 32 will move into the lead, but she'll have that tire disadvantage and also has no one around her to draft with. So I imagine this 79, once those tires are heated up, is going to start closing in on that 32, and we'll get a battle here soon.
Close there, but yeah, already kind of seeing how the tires are playing out in this race, as Summers does have the lead by quite a significant margin as well. However, as this run goes along, that tire wear will really start to kick in for that 32, so have to see how it does end up shaking out. But in a good spot right now, but still, we'll just have to wait and see how
Caution
it does
is
end
out.
up shaking out. Caution's out!
Oh,
Oh.
turn 1, Kobe Hollenbeck.
You were talking about that bottleneck. That could have been what that was.
Laurie Jackson and James Harvin as well involved. First caution of the race right at halfway. Thankfully, the entire thing had cycled out by then. But that's the second week in a row for Kobe Hollenbeck, having a hard impact right after a pit cycle. Tough break there for the 2-car, who had such a strong start in the first 2 weeks of the season, but that is going to mix things up for sure.
That is not what the 32 wanted to see. Oh.
32 doesn't want to pit.
Hello. Oh.
But most of the cars behind her will. And we still got a couple of cars trying to kind of wave around, like the 45. But I guess the 45's decided he's just going to come in and pit. Not sure why the 98's getting into the back of him. Charlie McCarron is also staying out.
Oh, James Arvin.
Kia Tajima. Oh, there's a spin on the front of the... Yeah, you pointed out James Harvin was having problems, and he spun out in the pits there.
Spur.
Does Cooper Spur have damage? He does. Oh, boy. Well, we're going to have to see what happened there. It kind of wasn't focusing on it, but Cooper Spur, who was up at the front earlier in the race, not sure what was going on there. Jake Sidney's got damage. Might have been involved in the accident. Could have been something after, but lots of damage on the Celsius Ford.
They're still going, though.
He is still going. Kevin DuPont. Looks like he's going to be the first one out of the pits. Not sure if he took tires or not. Yeah, we have a few cars taking 2 tires. We have a few taking 4. And I'm guessing the 98 took a splash and go here. So lots of varying strategy here, including not pitting at all. I'm going to be very fascinated to see how all these different strategies mix and mingle with each other. Because we've got a lot of new faces up here at the front as well. I see Zach Dearman, Adrian Fearson, who haven't really been up at the front yet. Jacob Lopez. things are going to get interesting on this restart, and this race has been flipped on its head because of that yellow. And we're going to show you what happened to cause that caution, and then we'll get you back to the restart here at Auto Club. The 3 wide coming out of the pits, and this was a problem I alluded to during that pit cycle. There you see Laurie Jackson just cut up in front of the 45 and the 70, and nowhere for Kobe Hollenbeck to go. That could have been way worse than it was with Laurie Jackson rather coming up the racetrack right into the path of the 2. Thankfully, Hollenbeck just skims it. Lots of damage though to both the 2 and the 6, and that's going to bring out the caution here at Auto Club. A heavy hit for Hollenbeck and Jackson that's going to take them both out of the race. Just a lot of bad luck for both these drivers, especially Laurie Jackson, who's been having a miserable start to her first season with Big Picky Motorsports. And Hollenbeck had 2 top 10 finishes to start the year in his first season with Martin Swain Race Team, but he's crashed out of the last 2 races. Just wrong place, wrong time for the 2 car, and just got caught up in somebody else's mess. They were trying to funnel it down onto the apron, and Jackson just wasn't paying attention.
Watching here coming off the pit lane, just 3 wide, and I don't know if Laurie Jackson just didn't really notice, but comes up and, oh my goodness, that's probably best case scenario for an accident like that. Hollenbeck just barely clipping the 6 of Laurie Jackson, but still seeing just how much damage both the 2 and the 6 got from that. Could have definitely been much worse, but still a really tough break there for both Hollenbeck and Laurie Jackson. You were talking about Brandon Jackson just had a miserable start to the season. Almost seems like if she had no bad luck, it would be no luck at all for that Picky Motorsports team. So really tough break there for the 6 and the 2 for that matter as well. Like you mentioned, it's DNF now, the last 2 races. So he's going to be looking for a turnaround here as we head the next couple of weeks. Same for the 6 team, but just kind of a really unfortunate situation there entering turn 1 here from Auto Club.
So we kind of saw this happening a little bit live, but Kevin DuPont, for whatever reason, maybe he was mad at Harvin for being part of that yellow, even though he didn't really cause it. Maybe he just objects to the OpenAI sponsorship on that 45 car, in which case, honestly, I don't blame him. But he just absolutely wails on the back bumper of James Harvin, and that ends up spinning him around as they go into the pits. He turns him under caution. Jake Sidney nowhere to go. Paula Sasikwa with a glance off the 45 as well, and Adrian Wheeler and Cooper Spur also pile in a bit of a stack-up accordion effect there. Not entirely sure what Kevin DuPont was doing there. It was a very questionable move for the Season 3 champion. Possibly a bit of a second heel turn there, as we remember what happened in the second half of Season 3. But hey, he started driving better after he did that. So maybe the field should be a little worried about Kevin DuPont now, but just absolutely, I don't know what he was thinking. Turning the 45 under caution, and Harvin's day, which was already pretty bad, just got worse because of it. Welcome back here at Auto Club. You just saw the accident that caused the first caution of the race and ended up taking out Laurie Jackson and Kobe Hollenbeck, both for the second week in a row. Been a rough couple of weeks for those 2 drivers for sure. James Harvin is a lap down and will restart on the inside lane, but we have a varying mix of strategies. Some cars did not pit at all. That is the top 4. Kate Summers, Charlie McCarron, Akiya Tajima, and Damon Kirby. And then we have a mix of cars that came in and just topped off with fuel, some that took 2 tires, and some that took 4. So much variance that I can't really keep track of it all, but I guess we'll find out what everyone did on this restart. Pace car will pull off. Summers will lead them to the field, and we are back underway here at Auto Club with 22 laps to go. James Harvin's not being as much of an issue as I expected he would, at least not on this initial restart. He is in the way of the 70 of Damon Kirby, but he doesn't seem to be that much slower, so I guess that's good news for sure after his little miscue in the pits. Here comes McCarran, still looking for her first career LSCI win. She has been in all 100 races, and she has made all 100 races as well. But she's the only one that has done that and not gone to victory lane, but this is a good opportunity for her to do it as she tries to get past the 32 of Summers for the lead, and it looks like she'll get it maybe in turn 2. And there she goes. She's clear of the 32 car.
Wouldn't that be something if McCarran were to go to victory lane for the first time today? Like you mentioned, she has made all 100 starts here in LSCI and has not gone to victory lane quite yet. What a win this would be for that 85 if she could pull it off here tonight. And already trying to pull away from the cars behind him. Hey, Summers and Akita Jima there going at it for the second position. James Harvin on the 45. He's still got some pace. Did kind of fire off a little bit slow there, but it does look like that he is still quite up to par once he did get up to speed, as he's currently still trying to fight to get his lap back. Here comes a 79. Alnita Kim already back up into the 4th position. That number 79. We know they have a really fast car here tonight, and they did come back down the pit lane to, at the very least, top back off with fuel. Have to see how that all ends up shaking out. Pretty much a hornet's nest back in through here.
Look at these teammates.
Everett there trying to make their way through here on the inside lane. Tim Berry and the one's also making his way up through the field as well. It's pretty much kind of camped out towards the back throughout the first half of this race, but now he's really making some headway here. He's now on the inside of 3 wide. We got 4, almost 5 wide back in through there.
Boy, the restarts at Auto Club are so fun to watch, especially back in here where they're really mixing it up with the 3 and 4 wide. But back up towards the front. McCarran still has the lead. Here comes Tajima underneath the 32. This 79 definitely has a lot of speed. Also want to point out Adrienne Fearson on the topic of winless drivers. She's gone her whole career without winning a race, and that career spanned over 20 years. This will be one heck of a race to get it done in, but that 79 is absolutely flying. She is going to take second here, and it's a quartet of Toyotas all trying to run down the Honda of Charlie McCarran, who's trying to pull away. It might be a little harder to pull away now that we've got a car with fresher tires chasing her down, but Tajima, Alnita Kim's teammate, is not giving up second easily. The 32 tries to dive bomb it into the corner, but there's just not much grip down there, and the 92 of Fearson, her teammate, will make the pass for P4.
Pair of teammates going at it for second, and a pair of teammates going at it for 4th. Adrienne Fearson, they're going to clear there for the 4th position and pulling away from the 32. Yeah, the 32 kind of struggling now with the grip, especially on that inside lane. But Damon Kirby going to go by in the 70. Tyler Landry by as well. They're kind of according together, though, up towards the front of the field as they're running down Charlie McCarran. And Barry and the one still making moves as well, but looking back up here, Alnita Kim closing in on the 85 of Charlie McCarran quickly. Here as we head through turns 3 and 4, here comes the 66 Tyler Landry looking to try and get by the 92 for the 4th position. This race is still absolutely far from over. We've seen a lot of great battles so far here tonight, and one's definitely heating up at the front of this field as Alnita Kim closing to the back bumper, looking to try and square up a pass on the 85 of McCarran.
She is putting the pressure on that 85 car. And how about big differences here? Alnita Kim only in her 5th race. Charlie McCarran having run 100 of them, but Kim is the one that has the win, and McCarran does not. And here comes Kim to the inside. They're going to be side by side coming out of turn number 4. There's more momentum on the top down the front stretch, and McCarran will barely lead the lap. But if Kim can stay low underneath the 85 of Charlie McCarran, she'll have a good chance to take the lead, and it looks like she will through 1 and 2. 79 back into P1 at Auto Club.
Good pass there from the 79 of Alnita Kim. Charlie McCarran trying as she might. I do believe the 79 probably has a bit of a tire advantage considering how fast the 79 got by that 85.
3 wide.
3 wide behind them is Landry Fearson and Akita Tajima all going at it for the 3rd position, excuse me. Damon Kirby there in the 70 waiting in the wings and looking on back. Up to 7th place is the 52 of LaTanya Gray, followed by her teammate Ashana Everett. These two have been really clawing their way through the field here so far since this restart. They're looking really, really fast. Wouldn't doubt these two probably took tires under that caution flag, and they're really making the most of them as they close in here to this battle for the 4th position.
Big shout outs to the 70 of Damon Kirby. He's had a really good start to the year. He DNQ'd at Atlanta, but ever since then, he's been top 10 in at least portions of all 3 races afterwards. Finished top 10 last week at Homestead, and Andrew Kreider signing Kirby to drive this car, we were thinking that maybe it wouldn't make much of a difference because this team had been struggling so bad. But it has proven to be pretty effective for this race team, as Kirby has definitely gotten a little bit more out of the car. And LaTanya Gray in the 52, driving for Blake Everett Motorsports, having a great day here today. She won the amateur race at Rockingham a few weeks ago. But she washes up the track a little bit in turns 3 and 4. That's going to let her teammate Shauna Everett get underneath her. And Paula Sasiqua still inside the top 10, having a great run today. And Tim Berry doing what he did at Homestead and rebounding from a tough start, putting himself inside the top 10. And his finishing ability is part of why he was able to run away with the championship last year. And here you're seeing him put it on again. But here's the question, Caleb, that I have. We restarted with 22 laps to go, and that's about where the fuel window was. Are we going to see fuel mileage here at the end of the race? Is it possible that some of these cars, I know for sure that the cars that stayed out, like the 85 car here in second, are going to have to pit again. But do we think that some of the drivers, especially the ones that took 4 tires, are going to try and stretch it to the end of the race with help from those caution laps?
I don't know, that could definitely be a bit of a toss-up considering how this race has played out. Like you said, we saw a lot of the field start coming down around lap 20, 21, 22, so definitely might be close. Like you said, they were probably able to save quite a bit there under caution, but the question still is up in the air of did they save enough? We'll have to see, but that would be absolutely insane if a race such as this were to end up on fuel mileage, but it's definitely getting interesting here as we head to the final 10 laps of the race. Look at Damon Kirby.
He's gone past Akiya Tajima. He's put the 70 into 4th place. LaTanya Gray is trying to square up a move on the 99, but not too much grip on the inside through the corners. And the McPickey Motorsports teammates of Tyler Landry and Tim Berry, the top 2 finishers in points last year, trying to work together on the outside. But this could be really interesting. The top 3 are pulling away. We know McCarran is probably going to have to make one more pit stop. I doubt she'll be able to make it to the end. Alnita Kim, Adrienne Fearson, a bit of a question mark. I feel like the 70 might have possibly even taken 4 tires under that last caution. So this 70 car, watch out for him to possibly put himself in this battle. He's 2 seconds behind the leader. We have 9 laps to go. Last couple laps, McCarran put a little bit of pressure on the 79, but she's backed off a little bit. So we'll see if maybe this lead battle heats up again, or if this really does turn into a fuel mileage finish here at the end. McCarran trying to draft back up to Alnita Kim. And Adrienne Fearson about a second behind the 79 as Kim paces the field, trying to look for her 2nd win in a row as a rookie.
McCarran still putting up a pretty solid fight at 85 despite being on older tires and staying out under that last caution flag. Trying to stay within striking distance of that number 79 if things were to either stay, if things were to stay calm or if things were to completely go off the rails. Have to see how it does. I'll end up shaking out.
Great run down the back.
Still with a lot of speed in that 85. Great run down the back. See if she makes a move in 3 and 4. Not quite, just kind of hanging in behind that 79. Maybe trying to save her stuff just a little bit. We know she stayed out under that caution flags and probably has a bit less fuel in the tank than a lot of the guys that came down pit road. So maybe trying to save all that she possibly can right now. You got Adrienne Fearson kind of chilling there in the 3rd position. And you were talking about Damon Kirby. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure he restarted towards the front of the field on that restart. So I do believe he either just didn't pit at all or just came down for fuel. So this is Some really
I
great
do-
stuff the 70
I
car is
do
putting on.
I do remember now the 70 stayed out under the last caution. He was the fourth and final car to do that. So yeah, Kirby has been putting on an excellent performance. And here comes the 85 trying to slide in front of the 79, slipped up the track a little bit. But she's got the angle down on the inside. Charlie McCarran, you know she's going to want this win really badly. She wants to finally get that first career win. She's underneath the 79 of Alnita Kim, and she's going to clear going into turn 2. Kim's trying to roll the outside, but the 85 is back up to P1. That 79, though, is getting a big run off the corner, so this battle is definitely not over.
Charlie McCarran, like you were talking about, you know how bad she wants this race win. She's giving it everything she's got to pull this off. Coming to 5 laps to go this time by. But you know Alnita Kim is not done quite yet. And of course, there is still the question of can all these guys make it on fuel? Have to see how that shakes out. Kim trying to get a run here as we head into turn number 1. And honestly, I don't know if I'd count out that 92 of Adrienne Pearson either. Trying to close in, maybe saving their stuff as well for a charge here in the last final lap, but still within a second of our top 2. It's not going away, and that's what McCarran has pretty much done after losing the lead to the 79. Now look where she is at right now, leading with 5, coming to 4 laps to go, looking for her first LSCI win in her 100th start, trying to fend off a hungry Alnita Kim behind her.
You think of all the Cup Series drivers in real life that have finally, that took a while to get their first wins and finally got it right around the century mark. You think Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, Charlie McCarran trying to do what they were able to do, but she has to hold off a hard-charging 79 who is not getting off the back of her. The 92 has been closing in a little bit over the last couple laps. Not enough, I think, to really close in. Oh no,
oh,
85!
No! She's out of gas!
She's going to have to come in, but is anybody going to be able to make it to the end? That's more the question here. It might not be over for McCarran. We will see. A couple other cars came in, including the 19, but the 79 stays out. The 92 is in second, exactly 1 second behind Alnita Kim. Shauna Everett, LaTanya Gray, and the 8 of Darren Walker round out the top 5. Did anyone else come in? Damon Kirby came in. Both those cars did not stop under the last caution. So that is bad news potentially for Kate Summers, as well as the 99 of Akia Tajima, who also... Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Here comes everybody
here we go.
else.
I was about to mention James Harvin came down as well, and we know he pitted on the last caution because he got into an accident on
Paula
pit lane. Look at this, the 12. Saziqua trying to stretch it. Tim Berry trying to stretch it as well. Is that Joanna Clark?
It is Joanna Clark at 58. I don't think they're going to be able to make it without a yellow. We'll see. Tim Berry's going to try and pass Paula Saziqua. This is for the lead right now. But I don't know. With 2 laps to go, it's going to be quite a stretch for either of these cars to make it. Saziqua trying to fend him off just in case she can make it. But I don't know. I feel like we're going to see all these cars coming in pit here, coming to the white. But if anyone stays out...
Oh, Barry's getting down. Saziqua might be staying out.
Going to stay out.
She's going
There's no
for
way,
it.
Right? She's going for it here off of turn number 4. What an upset this would be. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go. Paula Saziqua, the part-timer for Pacific Racing. Who else is still out there? Kate Summers came in. Saziqua's the only one still out on the track.
Oh my goodness. 62, Vinny Schultz.
Vinny Schultz is scored in second right now. Joe Smith is scored in third. We have a topsy-turvy ending to this one. But coming through turns 3 and 4, who would have picked her to win this race if she can make it all the way around? And it looks like she might be able to. Paula Saziqua with an absolute
Do you believe in
upset
miracles?
in the 100th race. She's going to get the win for Pacific Racing. And she gets her first LSCI win. Can you believe it?
My goodness. How
And it will be
that?
A Pacific 1-2 as Vinny Schultz is going to finish in second. It appears those two...
Smith, I think, got P3.
I believe those two were the only two that made it on fuel. Although it's possible the 62 came in for just a splash and dash, but I'm not seeing her in the logs, so. Wow. Oh my
Joe Smith
goodness.
did not make it.
Everybody
Oh
else going
my
around trying to
goodness.
complete their laps, but who on earth expected this? Paula Sisiqua in the number 12, the 4th Pacific Racing car, saved enough fuel to only pit once, and she is going to get the win in the 100th LSCI race. Oh boy, the amount of money you would have won if you bet on that.
Oh my goodness, that was just no words for something like that. Oh, you gotta feel great if you're Paula Sisico. That was absolutely incredible. And like you mentioned, a part-time driver going to victory lane here in the 100th race. That is an absolute spectacle if I have ever seen it. But a huge congratulations to Paula Sisico and a huge upset there from that Pacific Racing driver. And honestly, what a day to do it too, not only on the 100th LSCI race, but on the day of the Kentucky Derby as well, which is, of course, known for some very historical upsets. And I think a little bit of connection there between those two from what we saw here tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Paula Sisiqua, Vinny Scholes, the Pacific Racing teammates, the only two drivers to make it to the end on one pit stop. Absolute masterclass of fuel saving from that team. And Vinny Scholes was another driver that was looking for her first career win. She comes up one spot short, but I'm sure she won't mind. She was running towards the back most of that race to come out with a P2, and not only that, but to finish behind your teammate. That's got to be a good feeling. And how about this for Toyota? They sweep the entire top four, three of the Pacific Racing cars as Pearson gets a top five. Alnita Kim, if that had cycled out all the way, would have gotten 2 wins in a row, but she'll have to settle for P3. Charlie McCarron looked like she had a shot at her first career win. She'll have to settle for P5. Shauna Everett, Darren Walker, Akia Tajima, Latanya Gray, and Tyler Landry round out the top 10. Joe Smith ends up 13th, so a great run for him. Looked like he might have been able to finagle a podium out of it, but it looks like he ran out of fuel at the end. And here is the rest of your race finishers. Holly Martin, again, having a fast car for most of the race, doesn't get the finish that she maybe earned. Tim Berry was up there for a little bit. Looked like he might have stretched it to the end along with Sisiqua to battle her for the win, but he had to come in on the last lap. Kate Summers as well fell drastically down the order because of all that fuel mileage. But oh my goodness, Paula Sisiqua ends up getting her first career win in dramatic fashion here at Auto Club. And that is going to be a big moment for the Pacific Racing driver. There's going to be a party in the Pacific Racing server after this one. But wow, I cannot believe that. That is that is incredible. I don't think anybody expected that to happen in the 100th race.
Definitely a bit of rough for my expectations, but cannot complain in the slightest. That one definitely going to be going down as an instant classic here under the lights from the Auto Club Speedway. Man, Polly Sisiqua, like you mentioned, Pacific Racing's going to be partying in the Discord server tonight. I caught that reference, but a great run for Pacific Racing all around. Sisiqua getting the win. Scholes comes home second. Adrienne Pearson going to be coming home in fourth place. So, hey, some really great runs all around from that organization. But, man, what a race here from the Auto Club Speedway. Saw a lot of great racing all throughout the night, and a lot of strategy mixed in there as well. And it ultimately was what the race leaned upon. And Polly Sisiqua just able to outlast the rest of them on terms of fuel mileage and getting the win in absolutely spectacular fashion. As far as crazy races go, in NR2003. It doesn't get much better than that, but hey, for the 100th race, I'll definitely take it. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that we have not seen an upset like that happen in quite a bit of time. I mean, last year Joanna Clark won 2 races. That's a pretty big upset. But for a part-time driver on a team that has not necessarily been the best, they've won a few races, but mainly with just they've all been with Kate Summers. This is the first time that a Pacific Racing driver other than Kate Summers has actually won here in the LSCI. There's a little factoid for you. But for someone like Paula Sasikwa, who we really haven't seen a whole lot of, and when she has been on the track has not been that spectacular, this is a huge win for her, and it's gonna turn some heads for sure. I know it was off of fuel mileage, but we saw her. She was running in the top 10, top 15 all day, so she definitely had a fast car, but just had the right strategy there at the end to be able to save enough fuel. That is a massive upset in so many different ways. It's really hard to fathom, but a big congratulations to Paula Sasikwa there, and for Pacific Racing. And I don't know. That was a crazy race and a very topsy-turvy way to end the first 100 races of LSCI. I just want to thank everybody who has stuck around for that time, whether you just started watching or you've been around since the beginning. I appreciate every single one of you. Everybody that's come up here to watch the race, everybody that's come up here in the booth to commentate the race, everybody that's seen them on YouTube or in the Discord. And this has been a passion project of mine for several years, and I'm glad to have seen it go this much distance. And hey, who knows? Maybe 5 years from now, we'll be sitting here talking about the 200th LSCI race. But yeah, huge congratulations to Paula Sasikwa, and thank you to Caleb Rose for joining me in the booth for this race. And there's going to be a lot to unpack for the point standings once we get out of this. Corbin Taps ended up finishing 15th. I think he'll probably keep the points lead, but Alnita Kim is going to be bearing down on him for sure after that third place finish. But that's going to do it here from the Auto Club Speedway. And once again, congratulations to Paula Sasikwa on the win. And on behalf of Caleb Rose, I am Brennan Wilmington from the Left Turn Network, signing out. Here are your point standings after race number 4 of 30, which will be on your screen right now.